Arr.
Oh, Lord.
Welcome, mateys. Yes, yeah. Here we are again. It's on. It's Friday. Friday
My
already.
life has been wasted this week.
Just writ in the wind. Okay.
Worse than that.
Anyway, Constance chopped down a tree yesterday just for fun.
No, I didn't quite chop it down, but I took about half. Well, it's not. It's a tree shrubbery. It's invasive, and well, I denuded it for.
It went all
for
the
a
way
few
up to
months.
the power wires.
Well, that took a couple
cut it
days.
down to about 4 feet off the ground now,
No,
right?
it's about
Yeah.
6 feet off the ground now, but it was difficult.
Well, we've always said that in marriage, communication is overrated. But one kind of
That's because
communication,
we don't do it.
we only talk about something we know about. But one kind of communication is helpful, especially in a marriage like ours, and that is interspecies communication.
He's inferring something about me.
And you have an example of interspecies communication that
Or something else.
you were actually taught a joke this morning.
No, well, okay.
So explain yourself.
I came in from hanging laundry because I'm getting a lot done today. I've changed the sheets and tons of other things, and I've washed them. I'm hanging them in line, and there's an eye hook on the laundry pole, hooking the line to the pole, and on it was about an inch long weevil of some kind.
A weevil.
Now, I don't know how I know weevils from other things, but they're distinctive. And so my first instinct is, and I've done, if crickets and spiders will turn around and talk to you, if you say hello and yeah, exactly, wiggle your antenna at them, because that's how they talk, and they'll wiggle their antenna back, and crickets will even touch you. Anyway, if you let them. Don't get any ideas, Lon.
Morning, dear.
Don't put your cricket suit on again. Anyway. Oh, God, this is going to take too long. Well, I started wiggling my fingers, my antenna at the cricket, at the weevil, and it started walking away. This all happened in a flash. It started walking away instead of the usual hello, Mrs. DuQuette. It just walked away, and it said, now either I don't hear voices, maybe I hear thoughts, or else I am channeling a bad vaudevillian comic. But it instantly came to me. It said, as it was walking away, see no weevil, hear no weevil, speak to no weevil. And of course I cracked up and came in and told Lon. He said, I have to share that with
This
you.
is
I apologize.
The secret masters with the communication. Well, thank you.
I couldn't have thought of that. It's too, well, but I truly appreciate the dumber the joke is, the better. So, anyway.
Well, thank you for that, because my talk today is on
Weevils?
Yes, communication with the secret masters and things like
really?
that. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay.
I'm gonna go get back to work.
Implying that what I do isn't work. Well, it isn't.
It's just not physical.
Okay, thank you, dear. You may close the door. You may close the door behind you. Well, anyway, uh, now I don't often write fiction, okay, and it could be argued that everything I write is fiction, and it could also be argued that everything that is written is fiction. But I enjoy the creative uh, world, the thrill of going into another world and just watching what happens and write it down. I enjoy writing both sides of a dialogue. I enjoy it. Okay, and I've got a couple things that I've at least published. An Accidental Christ is perhaps the most heroic effort on that front. And if you haven't bought and read An Accidental Christ, uh, please let me encourage you to do so. It's in a beautiful paperback uh, published by Llewellyn, okay? An Accidental Christ. But I ran across something else too. And everything I write is probably on one level completely non-fictional. And everything I write is probably, at least completely fictional. But anyway, I ran across this. I wrote it, probably close to 20 years ago. I was 50 years old when I joined the Masons. A venerable age, I thought, to enter the craft. My father had been a Mason. He was a dear soul and the noblest man I ever met. When I was a youngster, he would amaze my brother and me by reciting from memory all 32 of his exotic and exalted titles from the Blue Lodge and Scottish Rite degrees. But when we asked him what the Masons did, he just smiled and teased, "It's a secret, and I am the prince of the royal secret." Ancient tradition forbids a Mason to invite anyone to join the fraternity. But there was never a doubt in my mind that Dad eagerly looked forward to the day when I would follow him between the mystic pillars and become his brother as well as his son. I'm sad to say it was a dream I would deny him in life. I now know that that was a terrible mistake. How differently things might have turned out had we been able to meet on the level within the tiled temple and been mutually bound by sacred oaths, secret signs, words, and tokens. Had I been a fellow Mason, perhaps he would have been at liberty to explain to me the truth about how the world is really run. Perhaps, just perhaps, Brother Dad could have warned me about Mom. M-O-M. I was serving as junior deacon of my father's old lodge in Long Beach, California. I'd been a Mason less than 3 years. At 52, I was one of the younger members. The average age in my lodge was 74. I enjoyed my participation and enjoyed the archaic ritual work and the free-thinking and non-denominational teachings that in centuries past were the soul and inspiration of the Enlightenment and the driving force of the American and French revolutions. However, there is little life, let alone revolutionary fervor, left in most of my octogenarian brothers. And so I found it highly amusing to learn that there are thousands, perhaps millions of people all around the world who believe most passionately that the Masons are indeed quite powerful and quite evil. We start wars, we buy and sell senatorships and presidencies, we throne and dethrone kings and queens and manipulate the financial markets of the world. Other accusations don't stop at earthly power. One very popular theory is that we're not human at all, but extraterrestrial, shape-shifting reptiles who have bred ourselves into positions of political power all around the world in preparation for some future satanic space alien invasion and earthling barbecue. I found this theory particularly amusing. And while many of my brothers do indeed have a decidedly reptilian look, I thought it safe to joke with them on this subject at our spring equinox stated meeting dinner. I had forgotten that most everyone but me at the table was hard of hearing. So I eventually found myself yelling quite loudly from across the table, "I said we're shape-shifting reptiles. Reptiles. We rule the world. Rule the world. We're secret masters. We control the destiny of the planet. We're the secret masters." Suddenly, the noisy din of the dining room chatter fell silent, and every milky eye in the room was on me. Nobody moved, not even to wipe the rice pudding off his chin. Finally, a silver-haired retired admiral in a wheelchair broke the tension by barking, "Control the planet! I can't even control when I goddamn piss!" The dining room exploded in laughter and table slapping. I nervously joined in also, but was left with a distinct feeling that I had somehow breached some fraternal decorum. A few of us were still laughing and making reptile faces as we tried on our aprons and entered the lodge room. I took the junior deacon's chair near the door in the west and settled in for what promised to be a routine business meeting. The master in the east put on his top hat and stood up. "Brother Junior Deacon?" I stood up and saluted with the proper sign. "Invite the brethren in and shut the door." I grabbed my rod and walked out of inner and outer doors of the lodge into the lobby area and proceeded to discharge my duty. The lobby was completely empty. Not even old Carl, the tiler, was at his post. That was very unusual. The area was usually crowded with dawdlers and latecomers who needed to be quickly aproned and herded in the lodge room. But even though there was no one there to hear my words, the ritual dictated that I must deliver my lines as the master instructed. "Brethren," I shouted to the empty hall, "the worshipful master invites you to seats in the lodge room." It's impossible for me to accurately describe what happened next. I remember it differently each time I recall it to mind. I was paralyzed, standing perfectly erect with my rod grounded. I couldn't tell whether I was actually paralyzed or whether time itself had stopped. In either case, I could not move, not even my eyes. Oddly enough, I was not frightened. It was as if I were emotionally paralyzed as well. Then, from the center of my brain, I heard what sounded like the static-filled signal of a cheap CB radio. Good evening, Brother DuQuette. You think the secret master's funny, no? The transparently affected European accent and the pretentious use of the negative interrogative made me want to laugh, but I was frozen in place. Ah, you think everything funny, no? No. Yes. No, I don't, I mentally answered. Who are you? What's happening to me? My name is Equinox. The phony accent suddenly disappeared. Stonehenge Equinox. And I'm here to tell you that you've just been recruited by the honest-to-God SM. A sadomasochist? I mentally asked. No, you fool. Secret master. I'm one of the secret masters, who since the dawn of human consciousness has secretly guided humanity's evolution. I've got a job for you. Tell me you're not a reptile. Over many years, in many places, I have been many things to many. Tell me you're not a reptile. Okay, I'm not a reptile. What kind of job? It's easy. I'm going to give you something. You mean like a disease? No. It's not some kind of suppository. Never mind what it is. You wouldn't understand. I'm going to give it to you, and you're going to carry it around with you wherever you go. Why me? Because you're a writer. You write about the occult. You write about magic. You write about tarot cards and spirits. Nobody believes an author of the occult. Can't you see the headlines? Occult author and former Hollywood hippie magician claims to meet controller of the Earth's destiny while paralyzed at a lodge meeting, swears it's not a publicity stunt. You see, Brother DuQuette, you're perfect. As it is said, the breath of secrecy is held safe when the puckered lips of the balloon are tied tight with the string of incredulity. What's that supposed to mean? Never mind. You have no choice. You are now part of the ET. The extraterrestrial? No, the eternal tricycle. What's that? Not what, who? Okay, who then? You will see, Brother DuQuette. You will see. Just remember, summer solstice, Big Apple breakfast. I fell forward slightly as I was suddenly released from my paralysis. The noisy static in my head was gone. I looked around for a moment and found nothing out of the ordinary. Then I remembered that the worshipful master and the entire lodge was waiting for me to return so they could start the meeting. I hurried back through the outer and inner doors and went to my chair. No one appeared to notice I'd been out of the room for so long. The master sent me out one more time to inform the Tyler that the lodge was open. This time old Carl was at his post and nothing out of the ordinary occurred. When I returned to my chair, I sat down. I felt a rather large object had been stuffed under the cushion of my chair. When the meeting ended and the lodge room was empty, I removed the cushion and found a manila envelope containing 222 neatly typed pages of a manuscript that made absolutely no sense at all. I carried it with me day and night until the day of the summer solstice Big Apple breakfast. I thought it was funny. Anyway, and that hopefully there's a book that goes after that. We'll have to see about that. Anyway, that's our goofy visit with you this Friday morning. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, if at all possible. Well, we'll see you tomorrow for Saturday morning cartoons. Until then, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt, shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.